This is a Fulcrum Side Quest Minisode. Short, focused opinions on psychology and storytelling, personal reflections, unscripted thoughts, maybe even some of your suggestions. Here's Fulcrum.
Welcome to Side Quests, a minisode series from Dark Character Profiler. These are the detours, the hidden trails off the main path, where we explore the overlooked, the unexpected, and real-world psychological echoes. Let's get into today's side quest. Sometimes, Star Wars doesn't break because of bad ideas. It breaks because the hierarchy of myth gets flipped. There has been a major leadership shift at Lucasfilm. Kathleen Kennedy has stepped down, and Dave Filoni has taken on a dual presidency alongside Lin Brennan, with Filoni overseeing the creative side of Star Wars going forward. That matters a lot. Because Filoni isn't just contributing stories anymore. He's helping shape canon. And when creative leadership shifts, it's a good time to ask, what does stewardship of myth look like? Today's side quest isn't about hating the Acolyte too much. It's about identifying a fracture before it spreads. And it's coming out for a very specific reason. Our next main Dark Character Profiler episode will be a full psychological and mythic analysis of Darth Plagueis. Before we step into that character deeply, though, we need to clarify something foundational. Because if Plagueis is going to matter again, the hierarchy of miracles has to make sense. Why that Plagueis moment feels wrong. Let's start with one of the many fractures of the Acolyte. In the Acolyte, Plagueis is framed as a watcher, a shadow. Some might even call him a bit of a creep. He isn't acting, he isn't violating the Force. He's observing the twins. And whether intentional or not, the implication feels like this. Plagueis learns from them. That right there reverses the myth order. Because Sith, especially Plagueis, must be initiators. They act first. They transgress first. They impose will first. When evil becomes reactive instead of transgressive, something subtle shifts. The Force stops being a will and starts feeling like coincidence. If Plagueis learned how to manipulate life from children, then Anakin stops being a cosmic answer. He becomes iteration. And that's the biggest fracture of all. Why this matters. Plagueis only works if he occupies a specific archetypal role. He is Prometheus. He is Faust. He is the academic tyrant who believes death is a problem to be solved. He represents pathological control. Fear of mortality reframed as entitlement. The belief that life can be engineered. If he is merely observing events, he loses mythic gravity. And Anakin depends on that gravity. Anakin's birth remains singular only if the Force acts without intermediaries. His conception is reactive, not derivative. He is the only unbidden correction. Because when miracles become scalable, prophecy becomes trivia. What makes Anakin's birth different? Let's slow this down. When Shmi Skywalker says there was no father, that line carries weight because it is singular. It is presented as mystery, not ritual, not science, not alchemy. Mystery. If the twins in the Acolyte are miraculous in the same category, then we've created tiers of miracles. And myth does not function well with tiers. There's a difference between a ritualized creation, a coerced anomaly, and a cosmic act of will. If everything is labeled quote-unquote miracle, then nothing is. Anakin only works if he is not engineered, not induced, not copied, but willed into existence. That distinction must remain clean. Otherwise, the chosen one becomes a statistical outlier, not a cosmic correction. The Filoni question. Now, here's where leadership matters. Filoni has always treated Star Wars as myth first, continuity second. He reframes instead of erasing. He protects singularity. So if Plagueis re-enters live-action storytelling under his creative authority, the question becomes, how does the myth get preserved? Because Star Wars is not just a timeline of events. It's a hierarchy of meaning. At the top, we have the will of the Force, then the chosen one, then the moral arc of the original trilogy. Everything else radiates outward. If newer stories flatten that hierarchy, creative stewardship has to restore it. Engineered life versus willed life. There are two philosophical categories here. Engineered life, which is created through manipulation, achieved through ritual or technique, born of control, and driven by fear of death. Willed life emerges unbidden, has no intermediary, exists as a response, not ambition, and is corrective, not acquisitive. Plagueis belongs to the first category. Anakin belongs to the second. If those categories blur, myth hierarchy collapses. And that collapse doesn't feel dramatic. It feels subtle. But subtle erosion is how myth weakens over time. One clean fix. This is not a retcon. This is a reclassification. Step 1, reframe the twins. They are engineered anomalies, the result of ritual, coercion, or force abuse. Unstable. Spiritually costly. Symptoms, not successes. Step 2, recontextualize Plagueis. That shadow scene becomes recognition, not discovery, not inspiration. He isn't thinking, I can do that. He's thinking, the force is destabilizing, my transgressions are already bearing fruit. Step 3, restore Anakin's singularity. Anakin becomes what he must be, the only Force birth without Sith mediation, the Force acting of its own will, a corrective backlash. The chain becomes clean again. Sith violation, anomalies, imbalance spreads. The Force answers with Anakin. No canon deleted, but the myth is restored. Closing reflections. This side quest exists for a reason. Because our next main Dark Character Profiler episode will be a full forensic breakdown of Darth Plagueis. And before we analyze him psychologically, we need clarity on what role he occupies in the myth. Is he a voyeur? Is he the architect of imbalance? Is he a learner? Or is he the wound that forced the galaxy to bleed imbalance into existence? That's the question we'll answer next. Evil never invents balance. it only provokes it. And when Star Wars forgets that rule, the Force stops feeling like a will and starts feeling like a plot device. That's the end of this side quest minisode. Thank you for coming along with me on a journey off the beaten path. See you next time.
That's it for today's side quest. If you have any topic suggestions, send us an email at darkcharacterprofiler@gmail.com. Don't forget, Dark Character Profiler returns next week. Thank you for listening.